All right, you guys, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Um, awesome. I got my chat there. You guys, do you believe it's day 3 already? Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. This week is flying by. Awesome. So let me know when you guys are here. Say hey. Let me know where you're listening in from. Hey, Julie. I don't have my glasses on today. Hey, Julie. Hey, Candace. Hey, Mandy. Awesome. So I'm so excited to be here with you for day 3. Hey, Eloise. If I'm slaughtering your name, it's because I don't have my glasses on. um, so, hey, William. Hey, guys. Thanks for letting me know you guys are here watching live or on the replay. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Rosa. Awesome. I'm so glad you guys are all joining. Hey, David. Hey, from New York. Good morning, William. Awesome. So excited. So, just for especially those of you guys on YouTube, your let's see, Spiritual Awakening Babe. Hey, Kim. I feel like I've neglected my YouTube people because I logged in today and I had so many comments. And I'm usually really good about commenting back right away because I love you guys. I love to connect exactly with each one of you. But I like my YouTube guys, they're like always coming up with some crazy symptoms that they have, and I love it. I love my job. So you guys, if you don't know me, hey Yvonne, hey Annie, hey Sarah. Um, you guys, my name is Brandeline Johnson. I'm a spiritual life and business coach, psychic medium, author, and educator. I like to help you awaken to your spiritual gifts, support you through your spiritual awakening. I'm super passionate about helping humanity shift to a higher consciousness and put in new systems in place like schooling and medical community. And the reason why is because we have the ability to tap into this consciousness. We all have this ability. You're not crazy. You're not making it up. Your gifts are starting to fire. We're shifting. Our frequencies shifting. We're electronic beings, and we're starting to become more aware of what's always been there. So it's my passion to educate you guys about each one of your gifts, how they work, what the symptoms are when you're starting to experience in them. Why are you experiencing these gifts? Because Spirit's letting you know that they want to work with you. This is why I'm so passionate about my Awaken program, and I put the link to the Awaken program right around these videos wherever you're watching it. If it's in the comment section on YouTube or if it's on the top in our group, you guys are so welcome to come join us. Your spiritual awakening community. I just had an English muffin. I feel like I have like cream cheese on my lips or something, but so here I am in Vegas right now, normally in northern Michigan. I would love to know where you guys are watching from. So it's sunny and warm here, and it's snowy and cold and dark in Michigan. But so what an opportune time to come to Vegas, right? Hey, Shalina. Hey, Carrie. Hey, yeah. Hey, Shalina. Hey, Nicole from New Jersey. Awesome. So today's training, you guys, let me, oops, I don't want to miss recording this for the podcast. Absolutely love sharing these live trainings with you guys and then capturing the audio for the Creating Consciousness podcast. If you guys haven't checked it out, there's way more than just the live trainings that I do here. It's a great place to go, just like YouTube, where you can actually search me. You could actually search the podcast episodes, right? William's here from Bakersfield. Good morning, Rachel. I know she's in Florida. Yeah, the Craving Consciousness podcast on iTunes, or you could go to my website, brandeline.com, and check out all of those. I interview a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs, a lot of spiritual people having their experiences. It's a great place for you to go to, kind of see firsthand like other people's spiritual experiences, but also like spiritual entrepreneurs, how they took their gift to the next level. That's what I love teaching my Awaken program, because so many of you guys go on to create a business to help yourself have a better life, but also to use your gifts to help humanity, right? So today we're going to be talking about clairaudience, psychic hearing, your gift, the voices in your head, right? One of my videos on YouTube, if you haven't checked it out, it's going to have a lot of the similar things here, but it's my most viewed video. I think like, I don't even know, over 50,000 views, because so many people are searching like, am I freaking crazy? I'm hearing voices in my head. A lot of people that reach out to me with clairaudience, psychic hearing problems are parents of teenage girls. Believe it or not, it's mostly like parents of teenage girls, like, please help me, my daughter's hearing voices. I know she's not crazy. I don't want to take her to the medical community This is also why I'm so passionate about teaching you guys this, because hello, if you hear somebody talking to you, right? Melissa from Canada, yes, we did a whole video on is your third eye open, um, in the your spiritual, and I think it's on the podcast too, or if it's not on there, it'll be up soon. Hey Nancy. So yeah, I mean, one of the signs of clairaudience is like you hear voices talking to you, and you're like, shit, that's not me. And so the first thing is like, oh my god, I'm freaking crazy, I'm losing my mind. But a lot of you guys are scared to go to the medical community because you know what's probably going to happen. They're gonna medicate you, they're gonna cover up your symptoms, or they're gonna lock you up, right? Depending how extreme the voices are. So the reason why I like to educate you guys to let you know you're not crazy, it's actually a gift. All of our gifts, when they start to turn on, are kind of scary. Because why? Because it's not considered normal. Like, you don't go out at the water cooler at work and be like, I heard my spirit guide talking to me last night. You just don't talk about it. So it's not considered the societal norm. So a lot of people get really freaked out, especially with clairaudience, because it is kind of freaky. So with clairaudience, people some of the symptoms that your clairaudience is stronger, right, than the other gifts. You'll end up with all of the gifts, but one of the ones is like sleeping. I have the fan on over here, I don't know if you guys could hear it. Is like sleeping with the fan on. Like, how many of you guys sleep with the TV or the fan on? Like, how many of you guys don't like to sleep in silence? Like, I would love to like see some comments fly by, or like some little hearts fly by. Like, how many of you guys sleep with the TV or fan on? Another sign, and I don't see any hearts flying by, so maybe I'm the only one sleeping with the fan on, right? Nicole's like, I can't sleep in silence, so at least I know I'm not the only one, right? Jolie's like, I need quiet. So some of you guys are a little bit opposite. But yeah, so Shalina, William, they're like, yeah, me. Awesome. Right? Annie's cracking up. So, yeah. And Brandy says she likes absolute silence. So, okay, so maybe clairaudience is not your thing, but we're going to keep going. So most people that are experiencing clairaudience will like to sleep with their fan or their TV on. And a lot of people that are clairaudient and don't know it, because subconsciously a lot of times you will cover up your gift because your gift makes you uncomfortable. So you do certain things not even being conscious about it, to cover it up. So a lot of clairaudient people do not like sitting in silence. They get really uncomfortable, they get jittery. One of our girls, Jory, I'm going to use her as example. I'm sure she don't mind, right? Just cannot sit still, does not like to sit down to meditate. They're just too busy. Starts feeling a little bit of panic when we sit still, okay? That's a lot of times, that's a lot of times that you will realize that you are clairaudient and you don't want to hear the voices. You don't want to hear what your guides and angels are telling you. It's just because your conscious mind isn't aware. Just like yesterday when we were talking about being clairvoyant, and you'll see something out of the corner of your eye and then bam, it's gone. It's because you have your intuitive side of your mind, and then all of a sudden your conscious side of your mind takes over, and it's like, nope, not accepting that. Nope, not accepting that. So that's something else with clairaudient people. The biggest thing with clairaudience, that there's hands down no doubt that you are experiencing clairaudience, is if you are in the public place and you hear somebody call your name, right? You hear somebody call your name and then nobody's there. You hear somebody call your name and nobody's there. Like, how many has that happened to you, right? So many of you guys. And I love teaching my clairaudient people, because what happens is part of your purpose ends up being a medium, because when you actually can hear the voice of spirit, right? When you can actually hear the voice of spirit, then you are able to really give a clear reading. You're able to be like, they just said this. Aunt Matilda's standing there and she said, I want you to go find my pearl necklace. You know what I mean? Or I want you to start taking a certain supplement, right? So this is hands down. Somebody said, I hear them alone, right? Yeah. You can absolutely hear them alone. A lot of times it happens in public because it's somebody else's loved one. We're talking clairaudient mediumship here. Somebody else's loved one saying, hey, I really want you to pass the message to my friend that's standing in the bread aisle with you, right? Another time that you're definitely going to hear them is like you're falling asleep or you're waking up. I get this a lot. Remember, your emotional mind's in the front seat when you're in that slumbering state, right? Your logical mind is in the back seat. Anytime that we have that emotional mind in the front seat and your logical mind in the back seat, that's when you're going to have more spiritual experiences, right? Because when you're awake, that logical mind is in the front seat and won't accept some of these things. So I'll hear certain people's names. I heard the weirdest name last night. It's almost like I got to go find this person on Instagram or something. I just remembered. I just remembered because I'm talking about it. It was like witchy, some herb spells or something like that. I don't know, something weird. I got to go find this person. So my guides and angels will tell me certain people's names in that slumbering state. I don't generally get names in my awakened readings, but they'll tell me people's names and it sticks in my head, and I literally will find them on social media and go give them a reading. It's because Spirit wants you to communicate with those people. But you can also, when you develop it, right? Or maybe some of you experience this already. For me, when you develop it, I like to call it reverse clairaudience. I could hear somebody's voice on the phone, and I know that I know from the sound of their voice that they are a nurse and they have a son. They're a nurse and they have a son, and I could just hear it in their voice, or I could hear if they're a fairy, or if I could hear if all these other things, right? Nicole, I think I just replied to your comment on the YouTube. She's like, I hear my mom calling my name when I'm sleeping, and she's not there, but she's still alive, and she was confused about that. I'm totally going to do a whole separate video for you guys, probably drop it in the YouTube Spiritual Awakening Babe, about why you hear those things, because it's kind of like a whole separate thing. Why you're hearing your name being called by an alive person. There's so many different reasons, right? So a lot of clairaudient people love music, right? A lot of clairaudient people love music. Like, how many of you guys love music, or how many of you write music? If you write music, I'm almost going to 100% guarantee you, right? You wake up with songs in your head. That's an absolute sign that you're clairaudient. How many of you guys love music? How many of you guys wake up with a song in your head? Thanks for that symptom there. How many guys wake up with the song in your head, right? Or how many of you guys are taking a shower and a song pops into your head? Clairaudience, right? Clairaudience. How many of you guys, like, not very many of you, but how many of you guys write music? If you write music, you're more than likely a clairaudient medium working with the angelic realm, right? I've been teaching so long that, like, if you write music, you're more than likely a clairaudient medium receiving information from other beings, right? And receiving information from the angels, because the angels work with music in a major way, right? Choirs of angels, right? Bless your heart, Rosa. Yes, I love it. She's communicating with her son. She says her son passed away 6 months ago. Bless your heart. She asks a question. She hears his answer in the head instantaneously. We were talking about that the other day too. So you wake up with a song in your head, or how about you're at the grocery store and you get a song in your head and you're like, why am I singing this song, right? Usually that's someone's loved one standing there singing that song to you, so that maybe you'll start humming it. A lot of times we are actually receiving information from Spirit and channeling it out through our mouth or through our symptoms, right, or our body language, and we don't even know it. And that's why so many people get so hung up on, is my gift working or is it not? Is my gift working or is it not? Because you're not supposed to try. You're just allow. You're doing it already. A lot of you guys are psychic mediums already, right? Hey, Amanda. I haven't seen you on here in a while. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Brielle. Awesome. Hey, Michelle. Awesome. So there's 11 people watching on YouTube and one like. It's like 111. I love it. So another thing, clairaudience, is if you write poetry. How many of you guys write poetry? Right? If you write poetry, or if you're an author, you're more likely clairaudient. And so how it works, right? So here's all different ways you can receive clairaudience, right? You could hear a voice outside of your head. How many of you guys hear a voice outside of your head speaking to you, outside of your head? Do you actually hear the voice, right? And I'm going to give you guys a little exercise to show that you can actually do this right now, right? How many of you guys hear the voice, hear the actual tone of the voice? Hey, Jory, I was using you as an example earlier, right? William, right? Awesome. I like that. Somebody received a book she didn't order, you might want to look into it. There's a reason for everything, right? Hear the voice outside of your head, and can you discern which side it is? We were talking about this in the Wake Up program with some of the girls on the group call last week. For me, mine comes from the left usually. Mine will come from the left. Some people's comes from the right. Some people realize that that the thoughts in their head actually come from a different area. So you can also receive thoughts through your head as clairaudience. It's almost as if it's a thought of your own, but it pops in. It just pops in. A thought just pops in from nowhere. All right, that's usually clairaudience. It's just a voiceless thought. It's a voiceless thought that just pops in. You just think that it doesn't come from anywhere. We talked on day 1 of the training about journaling. Journaling is when you're going to start getting a lot more clairaudience. So if you're wanting to exercise that gift and develop it, obviously you take the Awaken program because we go through everything, but journaling will be great. Yeah, so Margaret's like, yep, on the right side. Yep, you hear the voices outside your head, and then the voiceless voice inside your head that you almost feel like it's a thought, but you're like, was that really me? It just happened so quickly, right? Another one will be if you have the fan on. If you have the fan on here at night, or if you have the fan on in the bathroom, have any of you guys ever heard singing or voices coming from the fan? I'll tell you what makes you cry. If you're sitting there and you have the fan on, you start hearing the angels sing to you. It's the most amazing, unconditional love feeling I've ever felt in my life. Just laying there in bed crying because I couldn't believe that was actually happening. It's a whole like choir of music coming through the fan. So clairaudient spirits can kind of use electronics a little bit to like use it to kind of shift and change, and you'll be able to pick up on these voices. Right? So the ceiling fan in the bathroom, I know one of our girls, Amy Ringo, right? Jolie, I'm telling you, when you hear the angels sing, it's the most amazing thing. Now that you wished for it, listen for it. Amy says her bathroom. Oh, and then one of our other girls, she's a clairaudient medium, a clairaudient paranormal medium. Somebody just said yes. Your comment flew away, so I didn't get to see it. But she hears like anything, the vacuum, any sort of white noise, she hears spirit talking to her. So that's another way to receive information from clairaudience, right? So clairaudient people love music. They usually sleep with the fan on. They usually don't like to sit alone in silence. They don't like silence, right? They love music. Maybe they even write poems. If you're an author, you're more than likely clairaudient. You can hear them externally. You can hear it internally. Sometimes when you journal, it starts just flowing through you. Love that when it happens. I always journal when I do my readings. And then also, what was I going to say? I wanted to cover claircognizance on this training, because somebody had asked, are you gonna cover claircognizance, which is psychic knowing? And I said I was going to include that in the clairaudience psychic hearing training, because claircognizance is so cut and dry. Claircognizance is psychic knowing. You just know it, and you don't know why, but you will fight to the death because you know it. You just know it. Claircognizance is a really awesome gift, but a lot of my students, like if they come through the program and they're like, I just know it, and I'm so upset because I wish I could see it, I wish I could hear it, I wish I could feel it. I just know it. And so there's no way for me to get validation if I'm just making this shit up or not. And that's what's so funny, right? And so Margaret saying she hears buzzing. Thanks for dropping that. Thanks, Spirit, for having Margaret drop that, because that brings me to another point of clairaudience. But claircognizance is just knowing. It doesn't necessarily pop in your head. It's just, you just know. You just know. And you'll fight to the death, right? So, Margaret was saying she hears buzzing. And so a lot of times, some people will hear like the ringing in their ear, okay? Not to be confused with tinnitus, which is something going on with your ears, right? A ringing in your ear is usually a higher pitched frequency. It's usually something from the angels. It's usually something that's vibrating at a higher frequency than you. Yes, and I will talk about clicking and knocking too, you guys. That ringing is usually a higher frequency information from a star being or an angel or something that's higher frequency than you. You don't need to worry if you don't hear the words. You don't have to say, well, I can't understand you. Dang it. You just say thank you for the message, because it's going into your DNA. It's you're receiving it. And so whatever it is, it's a download. You'll pick it up. Yeah, the high pitched notes in your ear. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, that ringing, the high pitched notes. And so I've talked about this before, but you can really get to that sweet spot in meditation. And for me, it'll start ringing in the very center of my head. And it's not even in my ears. It's like coming from the very center of my head. And it's like, that is like when I get to the sweet spot and I know that I am connected with the divine, and that ringing is adjusting my DNA, that ringing is giving me everything that I need and more for in that moment, right? A lot of times, yes, Karen, the ringing is a download. It's you being connected to source. It's you either receiving information from source, or like when I said, when I'm doing the meditation, it is you actually being connected. You're actually like plugged in, and you are just getting everything you need at that moment. So it's a frequency thing, but the high pitched ear ringing is if it just, and sometimes it almost feels like you jump in a pool. You know, when you like jump in a pool, do you ever get that weird feeling where you like feel like you went down into the deep water? That's a lot of times when your clairaudience is activating, right? Or something's happening, and that's a sign for you to stop and be conscious and be aware and be in this moment and be there for this information that you're receiving. So these are some of the symptoms, and the knocking. So the clicking, the knocking, the clicking and the knocking. The knocking is usually a past level one, usually knocking, or even a lower level energy, like knocking to get your attention. If they're trying to be like, hey, I want to talk to you. Like, how many of you guys have had your knocking, right? How many of you guys had like heard knocking? That's usually your loved ones like trying to get attention. How many of you guys have heard knocking and you're somebody sitting next to you didn't hear it? That's when I'm like, did you hear that? And the people next to you are like, no. You're like, well, I guess that was meant for me, right? Yeah. So that's your loved ones. Awesome. So so some of the purposes, right? So say you decide, hey, Brandalina, I want to develop this freaking gift. I want to not only understand that I'm actually experiencing psychic hearing, but I want to develop it so that I could use it. So I could turn it on when I want to, so I could call upon them, and so I could deliver readings in public, right? Like a lot of clairaudience, they're mediums, right? They're mediums receiving it from their clair. And we'll talk about mediumship probably on Friday. So you're like, what do I do now? So you sign up for the Awaken program and you develop it, and then what, right? Then you guys are going to be the best mediums because you can hear spirit. You guys are also going to be really good healers because why? Because you can hear spirit tell you what to do in your Reiki session, in your healing session, right? One of our girls, Amanda on here, I don't know if she's still watching, but she's a clairaudient medium. She cracks me up. I love you guys so much. I'll never forget you. You know, if you work through with me, I'll never forget you. And so she gets healing codes. They tell her code numbers that she's supposed to be doing while she's doing her Reiki session. So she's like, I just repeat them in my head and I just aim it down, and these codes flow through me, right? Or our girl Janine that just finished recently, Clairaudient Medium, she's going to be doing a training for our VIP community the month of April. So excited about that. They told me to tell you to get black sand. They told me you need this crystal. She'll get names of crystals. She'll get these. Whereas, don't get me wrong, like a clairvoyant, I'll be like, they're showing me this crystal and it's red with white stripes and I don't know what it is, but they said you need that. So for me, it's more visual, but for the clairaudience, they actually hear names. They're better at hearing. They're better at names, right? George, somebody here is named George. One of my other girls, Teresa, amazing clairaudience, right? Another way to know if you're clairaudient, right, is do you use the words? It's the word sound. We talked about this yesterday. You really sound like you would be a good speaker. I could totally, I can almost imagine hearing you sing that song. The vocabulary that you use, like, it sounds to me like this guy's a real jerk. Right? It sounds to me like this guy's a real jerk. So instead of saying he looks like a real jerk, I have a gut feeling that he's a real jerk, you're saying he sounds to me like he's a real jerk, or it really sounds like the vocabulary you use, right? Karen's asking, what's an example of a code? So everything's frequency, everything's number. She's asking about how Amanda heard the healing codes. So it would be just like, you know, F29, you know, 62 purple. I don't know, but just it's a frequency. So I mean, it's just like computer code or you know, quantum physics, mathematics. Everything's frequency. It's just same thing as your name in numerology. You know, everything's numbers, right? Right? Yes, random numbers, random numbers. That would be a code. Jordy's asking, I get a lot of messages via angel numbers. What's that considered? You're visually seeing the number. They're visually showing you a sign. I don't know if I would call it clairvoyance because you're actually seeing it with your real eyes. It's more of a synchronistic type of thing. It's more of a synchronicity type of thing. You may be, there's so many different things, and I'll probably do a miscellaneous video. This is all part of the doors to the Awaken program being open while I'm doing this massive free training this whole week on all your clairs. But we do free trainings in our group, your spiritual awakening community, every weekday, just about every weekday. So I'll probably have to answer that one for you there, Jory. So back to your life purpose as a clairaudient, right? So mediumship, hearing codes, being a great healer, being a great author, being a great music writer. What are those called? Being a great musician, really. You know, maybe even working with the angels, because the angels really, really work with songs and sound, right? And just like the whole reverse clairaudience, it actually, it works in so many different ways, right? Like you could hear a tapping noise and all of a sudden just that tapping noise triggered a knowing inside of you. Or I could hear somebody's voice, like I told you, and hear that. You sound like a teacher. You sound like a teacher, right? You sound like you have a son. You sound like you live in Colorado. It's so bizarre and so wonderful and so amazing to really just keep diving in. And the more I learn and the more I teach, the more I learn, the more I help you coach you guys through these, the more comes into my awareness from spirit on how we're receiving. And this is why I love it, because you could sit there and you could be a really good psychic medium and still not understand, like, how is this happening? You know, where am I even getting this from? That's why I love, like, expanding on each one of these clairs, right? Yes. I love you guys. Awesome. So, I know that this training really helped you guys understand your psychic hearing gift, your psychic hearing abilities, your psychic hearing symptoms, and like some of the life purposes that come along with developing this beautiful freaking gift, right? I'm so glad you guys joined me today, wherever you are, on the replay, on the podcast, on the in our group, your spiritual awakening community, on our YouTube channel, Spiritual Awakening Babe. I love you guys. So let's see if you have any more questions. Abby hears her name being called. Awesome. These are all great things. So now that you guys have discovered that you might be clairaudient, what are you going to do with it, right? I'm so passionate about helping you guys step away from society's norm and creating a life you really want, right? Somebody's asking, where's the podcast? Craving Consciousness Podcast on iTunes or on any of your favorite things. You go to my website, brandaleen.com, brandaleen.com. There's actually a link to the Awaken program in this YouTube video and on the top of this Facebook Live, which will take you to my website. It'll take you to the Awaken program. But once you're on my website, you'll see it says the podcast. Go check it out. This won't be up on the podcast for a few weeks, because we have so many more amazing trainings being set up. You're welcome. But come on in to the Awaken program. Join us, you guys. The doors are open. I'm only opening them 3 times this year. This is the second time. So get in there. Thanks, sweetie. You're sorry about my dog. Aw, I love you, Karen. Thank you for that. You guys, I feel a lot better today. My dog did go to heaven yesterday, and my husband feels a lot better. She's not suffering. It was a sad day. I had pajama day yesterday. Pajamas and sad movies and lots of carbs and sugar. Lots of carbs and sugar. And now I'm back, right? So, yeah. Jory heard her name being called in the video, or in the casino. It could be, you could have heard your name being called inside your head or outside your head, yeah. I love you so much, Brielle. Oh, you guys, I love you. So tomorrow I'll be back. Let's do big thing here really quick. I'm gonna do clairsentience, psychic feeling, and I'm gonna drop that as a YouTube video for Spiritual Awakening Babe on YouTube, because there's too many trainings that I want to do in 1 week. So I'm gonna drop that one on YouTube, and then tomorrow we're gonna do empaths, to know if you're an empath and what that looks like with a life purpose. And then on Friday we're going to do mediumship. You know, you'll all have the ability to tap into that, but are you already experiencing it? We're going to talk about that on Friday live. All of these are live at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. And then get your butt into the Awaken program. You could sign up for as little as 120 today. And I can't wait to see you on the inside. As soon as you register, you get tons of access to tons of content already, and then we'll work together as a group for 10 weeks as well, with lots of group support calls, etc., etc. So I send